So the NBA draft was yesterday, last night, the first round, and the second round is tonight. The first gripe is how long it was. It was a 3 hour process. I think that is just disgusting. I think there's so many ads, there's so many unnecessary middle pieces that me having to wait 3 hours for 30 picks is ridiculous. I could see if there was just like a regular draft that is an NBA draft, and then you have 30 picks, 3 to 5 minutes. That's 90 to 150 minutes. That's about an hour 30 to a little bit over 2 hours. But the fact that it took 3 hours, I think, is just disgusting. Okay, now to get to the picks. I'm honestly just gonna give my winners and losers because I think there were winners of this draft, and I think that there are losers of this draft. First loser are the Sacramento Kings. I'm not high on Darius Acuff. He's a good player, but he has to have a generational offensive talent to be great in the NBA. I think he can be good. I think he can be like, but the worst he can be is like really, really bad. I think the best he can be is a really good offensive guard who plays a little bit of defense. But in college, he just didn't show any of that defensive like great. He he literally couldn't defend anything. Like he couldn't defend a fart. Like Darius Acuff was a terrible defender. And then they draft Alex Caravan, who I honestly don't know how he went first round, and Isaiah Evans didn't go first round. Maybe there was some combine stuff, maybe there's some workout stories I just didn't know about Isaiah Evans, but Alex Caravan is in no way, shape, or form better than Isaiah Evans. I honestly think that Caravan was like a mid second round talent, maybe like an undrafted free agent, like who's not this first round guy. Also, the Bucks are going to be my losers. I'm really not mad at the Braden Burries pick. At pick number 10, I think is ridiculous. He's a really good player. He has defensive upside. He has the offensive upside. I just don't think he's a top 10 prospect. Mainly they lose because they selected Nate Ament, and Nate Ament really isn't good at anything. He seems like a cool person, but he just really not as great at anything basketball wise. Like, yes, his upside is baby KD, like a lot of people saying, but his like bottom, like his floor is Zachary Ricochet. And I think him getting Zachary Ricochet comps is terrible for him. I do think that he can be a serviceable NBA player. At pick 13, I don't know. Maybe this is an upside pick. You did just trade Giannis. Um, but yeah, I honestly would have wanted them to take like someone who just wasn't Nate Ament. I know that would have been too high for Kareem Lopez, but you could have taken Kareem Lopez. You could have taken Jaden Quinton. You could have taken Chris Sinak Jr. I don't know why Chris Sinak Jr. slid. But yeah, the Bucks are my second loser. Someone in that in between area is Darian Peterson. I do have to salute him for keeping the number one gimmick up. He really thought he was going to be the number one pick. He didn't work out for Utah. I generally think that his way of thinking was not smart. Just because why would the Wizards need you when they have Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, Trey Young, and Bilal Coulibaly? They don't need you, Darian Peterson. The Jazz need you. They really only have Collier and Keontae George. They need you. They needed a guard. So guess what? You're gonna get taken to number two. The Wizards didn't need a forward. They had Kaishan George. And I think that the Wizards needed a forward. I like their pick of or I like the number one pick of AJ Diambasta. I just did not like Darian Peterson's camp and his way of going around thinking that he was going to be the perennial number one pick. No, you weren't as good as AJ. I honestly don't think that he was even better than Cam Boozer. But, you weren't as good as AJ. The Wizards don't need a guard. Expect to go to Utah or Memphis. My winners of this draft, the Boston Celtics. I love the Chris Snack Jr. pick. They did need a center or a forward, and they got that. Someone who's long, someone who's physical. I think Chris Snack can be that for the Celtics. My other winner is the Pistons. I think the pick that they had, the kid from Stanford, or sorry, the young man from Stanford, freshman, he was a really great scorer. I think the Pistons, what they really desperately needed in the playoffs was a combo guard that could score, or like another guard who could score. And yeah, they got that. The Cameron Carr pick by the Lakers is pretty good. I really like Cameron Carr. Athletic, can shoot a little bit. He's really I like that pick. I like the Kareem Lopez pick by Memphis. I'm trying to think of other picks I like. I love the Yaxel Lindenberg pick by my Warriors. We needed someone who looked NBA ready, and I think that someone who showed that he could produce on the JUCO level and at high D1, and he just won a chip. I think that the best player would have been Mara or Yaxel, and we selected Yaxel, and I love Yaxel. I think he's really the definition of a Swiss Army knife. He can really do a lot of things great on the court, and I think he has a great career ahead of him. Yaxel, man, shout out! You're gonna be a great Warrior one day. Honestly, the top 9 picks were done right. I think teams really saw what they needed or who was best available, and they just picked those. I honestly don't know. I think Braden Burns is a good player. Maybe I was just looking at the wrong mocks, but I think he's a great player. Yeah. How about I say the first 10 picks were done right? Or sorry, the picks were done right until Nate Ament. I just don't get how Nate Ament is a first round talent. I think he's like a second round talent. Like he's a good person that you can go and get to be this forward, and you could develop him into like the dream that your team has, because him really not being great at anything like on the court just kind of is like a double-edged, or not a double-edged sword, but it's kind of like this thing to where you can develop him into being what you want him to be. So he's kind of like a blank slate coming in, and he can either be this superstar, or he can be this 3-and-D forward, or he can be this rebounding forward, or he could be this long defender who is a dunker and who can just do a lot of other stuff. I just think that he's a good player. I just don't think he was the 13th pick. Oh yeah, another winner, the Spurs. I honestly think the Spurs addressed what they needed. They needed big bodies. They got Jaden Quintance. Spurs also got Terrace Reed Jr. I think they needed a center. They needed a backup center who could kind of like hang, because in the finals, Luke Cornett, he just wasn't like that. But he is one of the best backup centers available, so you really can't be mad at Luke Cornett. But yeah, I honestly think this was the first. I think this first round win is predicted. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised Koa Pete fell, because he's kind of like Nate Ament. He just kind of doesn't do a lot of stuff great. Like he's a good player, he just does not do a lot of stuff great. But yeah, I do want to say congratulations to all the draftees. Also, congratulations to all the draftees in the second round tonight at 8:30. And to those who didn't get drafted, you're still worthy of being an NBA player. You got this, and good luck on your basketball future.